Good morning. I am back for the second Stamp and Chat. Bear with me, I check I'm in the right place and share this over to my group just while hopefully somebody pops on and joins us. Okay, sharing done. Hopefully somebody will be hopping on. I can see somebody's there. So welcome back to Stamp and Chat. This is the Ornamental Envelopes live session, and this morning I went live at 10 a.m. for the non-Christmas version of the November Stamp and Chat. So this afternoon, well, not this afternoon yet, at this moment we will be using the ornamental envelopes to create another Christmas card with you. So most of you that bought the stamp set had the dies along with them as well, with the kits that I offered, so that's always really good, although you can fussy cut out these shapes. A couple of people joining. Hello Jacqueline, thank you for coming by. The DSP that I included as part of this kit is the Classic Christmas, I believe. Classic Christmas. There's an Alfie hair, that's not attractive. I am in love. I think I've shown you this every week. I just love these colours. In fact, these inspired me for this round of Stamp and Chat. So we've got Shaded Spruce, Cherry Cobbler and Sahara Sand. The papers are on back order at the moment, but they are coming back in at the end of the week. So could be Monday actually. I think it's 23rd. I did mention that this morning. So they are coming back in. You were able to add them onto your order and they will ship. They're on back order, but they will ship to you as soon as they come in. So I love them. I've still got all of these sheets left, but I'm very tempted to get another pack when they come back in because I've been using it such a lot. Let me just bring in last week's card for those of you that didn't join us. You can of course go back, you can scroll back through my Facebook and find last week's video, or you can head over to my YouTube channel and you can watch the replay of me making this card. So this was the card we made last week. Now we are using this large stamp again this week. Next week we're doing something a bit similar, and we did create this nice like branch hanging. So next week we won't be using this stamp. So let's bring in today's card. So here it is. Some simple stamping, nothing too complicated. Use of the DSP. And I'm also using the greeting again, using the same greeting, I think throughout the whole of this Stamp and Chat. And it's from the Curvy Christmas, which I'll be talking about after, because this is an early release product. So I've just used this greeting here. So if you're stamping with me live, pull out your card kit number 2. So we're on week 2. And grab your stamps. Hopefully you've got your blocks and your inks ready as well. As part of the kit, I included 2 ink pads, Cherry Cobbler and a Sahara Sand, and then we are using Shaded Spruce, but a lot of people already owned that from previous Stamp and Chat rounds, so we will be using that a bit as well. You also got some of the Gilded Gems and I think an 1/8 of a pack of this Christmas, Classic Christmas DSP. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. So without further ado, let's make a start. There's a couple of you on here. You will need to locate this large stamp, which I've already mounted. Look at the colour of mine. It is clean. It has been cleaned. It's just stained and it still works fine, even though it's got a little stain on it. And you will also need this little trio of flowers. So those are the only 2 stamps you need for today's project. Put that out of the way to one side for the moment and bring in this big stamp. Now, those of you that joined me last week I found that obviously with the staining and using my chamois, that my stamp wasn't 100% clean after I'd used it. So I recommend starting with the Sahara sand stamping first, and then when you clean it you can then go into your cherry cobbler and hopefully you won't get any discolouring. I just found that when I stamped with cherry cobbler first, cleaned it in my chamois, which obviously wasn't 100% clean, and then went into my my Sahara sand, that my Sahara sand ornament looked a bit pink, had a bit of a tinge to it. So recommend starting pale and then moving dark. Bring in your spongy mat because we're using photopolymer. I'm going to pop the card to one side for the moment. So you will need your cherry cobbler card base, and then in your pack you will have an insert, an outside layer. I've got 2 pieces of this. This is the layer we are going to stamp the baubles on, or the ornaments. I don't believe I cut you strips because you have 1/5 of the pack, so I will give you the measurements for these pieces of DSP. And then we've got a very skinny strip of Sahara sand, and then a couple of strips for the greeting, the sentiment to go on. So to start with, pull out this piece and pop it just to one side. That's the first piece we're going to use, and you will need some scrap. So some scrap Whisper White. I gave you all white in your kit, so you should have plenty in there. Now I am just going to take a wipe and just quickly go over that stamp just to make sure it is 100% clean. And literally you could stamp the whole of it and die cut it all out, and then you've got pieces left for another project. So I think that's what we do, rather than do half of it. And sometimes it's easier when you've got a big, I'm gonna have a wobble, when you've got a large stamp, it's quite handy to take the ink to it. Now I'm going to try it and make sure that it is clean first. So this doesn't need to be lined up. We're literally just cutting out some of these images. That's fine. And then I'm just going to give that another clean for the moment and just let it dry whilst we bring in the next piece. So what we need to do is bring another piece of scrap in, and this time we're going to do exactly the same thing, but you need to locate your cherry cobbler ink pad. Mine is a new one. As I've said before, I'm gradually replacing my older style ink pads. So this is an older style ink pad, the ones that flipped over. So I'm gradually working my way through and replacing them with the new style, because I have the new storage for my ink pads, so I want them all to look nice and pretty. Don't we all like that? So this piece is just scrap, and we're going to ink up with the cherry cobbler and just stamp the whole thing again. So it doesn't have to be straight, we just want these ornaments to layer up on our project. Okay, just love that. It's a bit heavy on the bottom there, but that's fine. We're going to be using a couple of these, and we'll die cut those out in a moment. If you didn't get the dies with your kit, you can fussy cut around these. It's totally fine. Now the next piece is from your kit. I've actually pulled in another one there. So it's this small rectangular piece. It measures 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. And I think, let's do the stamping first, we can die cut after. So we're going to ink up our large ornament stamp again. Probably put too much ink on that because my ink is new, it's very juicy. And we need to stamp this. If you look at my card, the big bauble at the bottom is kind of like not quite halfway up. So that's what we're aiming for. We are going to be chopping off. I've just had a thought. We need a post-it note. Hang fire, guys. You need a post-it note or a scrap of paper, because what we need to do is blank off these two top stamps, okay, because we don't want them to appear on our card. So I'm going to pop my post-it note, just going to lay it over like that. Now this bauble is coming not quite halfway up, so I'm just hovering it over, and I want to omit, maybe let's do it that way, these two images up here. Is that going to be enough? Is it going to be in the way? I'm going to not do it from the sticky side, and I'm just going to hold it there and roughly fathom like that, so that when I stamp it down, these two baubles won't be on my background. They'll be on my post-it note, but they won't be on my back piece. So you end up with this. This is quite dark, this ink, because it's new. But that's fine, it will dry a bit paler. So you can keep this post-it note, pop it back in your stamp box. I usually have one inside mine. Pop it in your stamp case, because you can reuse that and it will come in handy again. So what we need to do next is maybe a bit of die cutting. I'm just looking, that's not quite straight on there, but it will be fine once we put everything else on there. Let's do a bit of die cutting. We'll die cut the edge on here. I believe I've already cut this for you guys. So these are the dies that go with the set. Absolutely lovely. So these are really good for lining envelopes. We've got a lovely scalloped edge here, and this piece creates almost like an aperture, really pretty. But we need this die here, and I'm going to use this die to cut the bottom of this piece here. Let's bring in my layers, and all coming through. That's because it's Jason. I have got my phone on Do Not Disturb. Now Alf is coming to see what's going on. He's like, who is that? Who's ringing? Let's just pop this one down at the bottom. I'm going to have to refresh my page because my MacBook threw me out then. So I'm just going to line that one in there, pop my top plate on and run that through my cutting machine quickly. And that creates, oh, a bit of static there, a lovely edge on the bottom. And then we'll cut this one. We only want a couple of these, so whatever you've got left, whatever you decide not to use, keep them for your next project. Okay, I'm just going to run these through. I do love these, look. So we'll push them all out, but as I said, we're only going to use a couple of those, and then we'll just cut the Sahara sand ones at the same time. And we've got a little bit more stamping to do. Hoping my phone battery is going to hold up. Did you move? Because it wasn't fully charged again from my live earlier. Let's run this one back through. That moved. There we go. Move Move all this to one side. We'll need that again in a moment. There. And then the last bit that we need to do that needs die cutting are these little flowers. Just grab a spot of scrap and you'll need to locate this trio of flowers in the set. And we're just inking those up with Sahara sand. Like that. And we'll die cut those as well. And that's this one here. They just line in nicely, and lovely that they cut all three together in one go. Squash that all down. Run that through quickly. There's a bit of static going on my plate. Take that one away. So we've finished with that for now. Just pop these out. Oops, one is alive. Like that. So those are all of our elements that we need for now. So bring this layer back in and you'll need to grab your sponge wedge. Let's take this back actually. And with your shaded spruce, sorry about my arms coming in, just going to go gently around the edge. I know this seems to be like my favourite thing to do at the moment is sponging edges, but it does really make a difference to a layer. It just helps it to pop out, it gives it a bit of definition. Jackie, what are you up to today? Are you crafting? Or are you working from home? Okay, just bend that a little bit. Now, we will need to do a teeny bit more stamping actually, because I've remembered that we are missing some of the string, so to speak, the little dots. So you need to locate this stamp. Let's find a reasonable sized block without disturbing my camera too much. So let's just mount that on there like that. Now you can see that I've been using this by just inking that one edge. So what we're going to do is bring in our ink and just ink that run of dots so that when you stamp it, and you have to be gentle and you have to use two hands, you get just that one row. So I'm going to ink that again and just show you that if you are very gentle and very light, you will get a neat line of dots. And this is something you have to remember, that when you're stamping, two hands on a block is really important, but also depending on the size of the stamp, if it's a very fine, delicate line image, you don't need to apply a lot of pressure when you're stamping down. So I'm literally, hope you're in shot. Let's have this straight to start with. Just going to add in a string of dots like that, okay? And I think I'm very tempted, it might not work very well, to try and line up. I wonder if I'll be able to do it. Let's have a go, because, you know, we have to try these things. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I want to follow this line up here, and it's extra tricky because I can't get above my project. Oh, I missed a dot. All is not lost. That will be fine. We can fill that in with a marker pen. Let me see if I can find my cherry cobbler. I got cherry cobbler. used this for a while. Let me just check if it works. We could just cheekily draw one in and nobody would ever know. Okay, so you could of course draw this in pencil first so that you've got a bit of a guide of where to stamp, and they do look a little bit wibbly wobbly, or you could just take a ruler, take your marker and just draw dots down if you feel that using this could be a bit tricky for you. If you don't have a very steady hand, it may make you a bit nervous to do that. So there are ways around it. And the great thing about having our Stampin' Right markers and our colours is that you can always touch something up as well. So let's start building. Grab your base layer, fold it in half and give it a score. Find my bone folder. Wondering why Jason was ringing me, probably to go and check to see what the heating is doing. And you will need your front layer. Now I'm just going to check with you. Your insert will be slightly bigger. Can you see the difference? Okay, so your insert is slightly bigger, so keep that to one side. And we can pop this layer straight down onto our card. Take the glue of your choice. Mine is mostly Tombow. And lay this one down on your base with a nice even border. I've noticed when I'm working, I work on the wonk. That's Belle's favourite word, on the wonk. Don't know why. Going off track there. Take some of your designer paper. You can choose whatever you like. We need a strip that's going to run down this side of your card. Mine measures 1 inch across, and it's probably, my card bases are always 5 3/4, so it's probably 5 7/8. It's probably just not 5 7/8, 5 5/8. Yes, it is. So this layer measures 1 inch by 5 5. I will try and be good and pop the measurements in the description, because I am also aware that I'm not giving you any other measurements of any layers. So it's all very well for those of you who have ordered the kits from me, but if you're trying to follow on after the live with a replay either on here or on YouTube, then it's a bit of a guesstimate for you, isn't it, really? So maybe I will have to, in future videos, lives and recordings, pop some measurements in, or I can put them in the info box down below. Hello Ellie, you're back again. You've been busy with that paperwork. Right, next you need to locate more of your DSP, and I have a pack here. I'll show you my little pack where I've been keeping all my scrappy bits, all my offcuts. So if you've got anything that you cut into from last week, just grab one of those pieces. You don't have to use the same pieces that I've used. So these are measuring 3 5/8 in length, and this one I believe is 3/4. So cut a strip at 3/4 of an inch and then trim it, let's grab my mini trimmer, to 3 5/8. Okay, so we've got 3 1/2 and one more. Okay, 3 5/8, and it measures 3/4. That one's just going to go up here, and we'll trim this one to 3 5/8 as well. So 3 1/2, 3 5/8, or thereabouts as far as I can see. And then we're simply going to layer these two together. Now if one is slightly longer, we can trim it after. So let's just pop a bit of Tombow right on the edge. thought I could hear rain just then, and we'll just create a nice border with this stripy cherry cobbler piece like that. And if that's straight, it's got a bit of glue there, just trim off that edge like that, and then we can lay this one up here with a bit of Tombow on the back. Like that. Just had a moment then of just feeling really tired and remembering that I had a job to get to sleep last night. I don't know why, I just had lots of things going around in my head. And then this morning I woke up at about 4 and was just wide awake, eyes wide open. It's so annoying. I know I'm not the only person this happens to, but I led there for ages and thinking, shall I get up? Shall I stay here? Shall I go and have a drink? So I just led there in the end, and I don't need that piece, it's this piece I'm looking for. And then about 6 o'clock, when you know the alarm starts going off, then I start feeling tired. It's very annoying. Okay, on this layer we're going to pop on some dimensionals. Got some mini ones here, and I put plenty on. Two stuck together there. Take the top one off, don't need them that close together. Put plenty on because this is quite a big layer, so if you have the larger dimensionals, they might be better for a job like this. But you know me, I love these little mini ones. And we'll just pop one in the middle there. Take all the backs off. I feel a bit lost. My bin's just out of reach. I can't get to it. Okay. And then we'll just pop this layer down. On here, as central as possible. Lines are a bit crook, aren't they? But never mind, not to worry. Now we want to add in, do you remember these pieces that we die cut earlier? I'm going to layer up on that one, and rather than this one I'm going to pop a larger one in there. And for the Sahara sand ones, I'm going to take that one, and then all of these other pieces I'm going to put to one side, and we can use those on another project. So let's pop another couple of dimensionals on the back of here, and just one on the back of there, and then this Sahara sand one I'm just going to pop straight down. It's not very well lined up, was it? Kind of gonna have to do it like that, but it's fine, it will be fine. It's made with love. The lines don't line up, do you know what, but nobody will notice. Nobody will notice, and we could stick something over that to hide it. It's all about the happy accidents, guys. And let's layer this one as well, and this little one over here, and he can overlap this one, that won't matter. Okay, and then our little flowers, so bring these back in. Just going to give my fingers a wipe. I think I've got Tombow on me, which happens often. And we're going to pop them in a triangle. So one here, one maybe right over here, and one down here. I'm going to go with the largest down at the bottom, and then the two smaller ones Now, do I want to put these? I'm going to put these on dimensionals now that I've added the glue in there, because I did on my original card and I think they look okay. So let's just pop a mini dimensional on the back of all of those. Just going to use this bit of scrap to take off that splodge of Tombow, and then pull off these backs. That's better. I think I needed to see more depth. You know I love my layers. Honestly, simple stamping is not me. We've all got our own style and we're all different. You know, even though there are thousands of demonstrators across the world, we're all very unique in the way that we craft, and our projects are all very unique. And for me, simple stamping I find really hard. I kind of like, let's just put something else on there, and then I add more layers, and I'm not very good at simple stamping. So my idea of card making is not for everybody, and I totally understand that. But I know some of you do like my projects, being that they are quite fussy. So we're going to add in some of the gilded gems. Let's use a large one on the large flower. These are beautiful. Let's press that one down, and then a couple of the smaller ones, just using my take your pick tool. Have you guys all got one of these? It's absolutely fabulous. A really good tool. Love the pokey tool for picking things up, and then if you have smaller things like sequins, this kind of sticky end is great for picking up things. If you don't have nails, you can't pick things up. Sometimes it's a little tricky. And for picking up small pieces that you've punched out as well. So, right, all we're waiting for now is our greeting. So you need your skinny strip of Sahara sand, and then also this strip here to do your stamping on. Let's bring the mat back in. And as I said, I've used the Merry Christmas greeting from the Curvy Christmas stamp set, which I'm going to show you again in a moment. And I've used my shaded spruce for this one. So let's just like to have my paper lined up straight to start with, and then we just take two hands on the block so we're nice and steady, and hope and pray that it comes out straight. I've given you guys a couple of strips in your kits just in case it doesn't go to plan. I'm just going to snip this one off. Still got Tombow on my fingers. Move that out of the way for the moment. Got a little mark on there. And then we need to cut this little skinny strip just slightly longer than the actual layer. Where did you come from? And a bit of Tombow on the bottom of your greeting just to stick it down to this Sahara sand layer, like that. And if you feel once it's on there it's a bit long, you can trim it, which I think I will. It's going to take a little bit off of that end. Wish I knew how my battery was doing. Doesn't tell me. And then a couple more dimensionals on this layer, because it's already quite heavily layered, so this won't be. Am I back? Am I back in the room? I think I'm back. I don't know what happened then. It said that my phone was trying to reload, so I don't know what was happening, but I think we're back on anyway. I'm hoping we are. So I've just popped on my greeting, and then we're done with our card. So I'm just going to, let me bring in the one that I did earlier, because I think it's a little bit straighter. It's not on the crook as much. Pop something on the insert. Thanks, Ellie, for letting me know that I'm back. I'm not quite sure what happened on my MacBook. I'm way behind on the delay, so I think it was something to do with connection, which I normally get a really good connection over here in the studio. But never mind. We're back, so that's all that matters. Let's use this Merry Christmas and just put something on the inside, because I don't want to bring in any other stamps at this point. Of course, if you're stamping live with me, I think my hair was in shot then, leaning over. If you're stamping live with me, you can do whatever you want on the inside. I think I'm just going to leave it at that, because I don't want to confuse the situation any longer by adding in. Was thinking maybe I could pop a little branch in. Do you know what? I'm going to add the little branch because I love the little branch. And as you're still here in the room with me, let's just grab a D block. Could have a wobble now, guys. Let's grab this one. I think this is a H. Let's have a look. Yeah, we're on a H. So, excuse my arm leaning. Let's just bring a little bit. Nearly forgot my mat. Can I get used to having this on my desk all the time? Bit of foliage up here. And then I'm going to just pull that one off. Pop it to one side. And then grab this lovely dotty image. The trouble using these dark colours. The good thing is it does wash off, a couple of washes, and then we'll just add in some berries just randomly. I'm not lining them in anywhere. Probably could have been placed a lot better than that, but that is totally fine. We'll pop some glue on the back of here, ready to go inside our card. And then just lay that down in, as I always say, with a nice even border around the edge. Like that, and our card is done. So there we go. We had a little glitch at the end there, but I'm going to just move this inked stamp out of the way for the moment. So thank you for joining me. If you've stamped live with me, I hope everything has made sense. If you're catching up on the replay, either via YouTube or here on my Facebook page, if you would like to purchase any of these products, I would appreciate your business, and you can shop direct with me or online via my website. So, wanted to just share, I did chat about this morning. Let's move all of these pieces out of the way. Excuse my arms for the moment. I've got a couple of classes in the post going at the moment. I spoke this morning. I have to go on to my live this morning and to see the other. But because we're doing Christmas, I thought I'd just share with you the Christmas option. This is the Curvy Christmas. It's part of an early release kind of selection of products that will be coming in the new spring. Well, it's not spring, but I call it the Spring Mini. This item will only be available until 3rd of January, 4th of January. So it's not going to be carried over, but I absolutely love this set, and I've created some cards with it that I will be including as part of a class in the post. So the cost will be £35, and it will include the stamp set and the pre-cut kits. So you will need your own stamps, own inks rather. I've used Just Jade, Shaded Spruce, I have used a bit of Whisper White and Cherry Cobbler as well. There's a bit of Sahara Sand in there. So colours that I've been using for my lives, hoping that a lot of you have already got these colours as well. So I will try and share more about this class because I haven't put it on my website yet, but my other class, the Quite Curvy, is over on my website at kerrytims.co.uk. Now, if my battery will let me, I'm going to quickly show you inside the paper pumpkin kit. I'm moving the inks further out of the way now because I don't want anything going in there. If you've not seen this yet, such a lovely set. So you get, in this kit, it's £20. You don't get the stamp case, that's an old one that I have, but you can buy those. You get this lovely stamp set. Can you see this? It's got a beautiful wreath and some nice greetings. You've got some instructions in here and pictures of the cards that Stampin' Up have pre-designed for us. We have some foil greetings, sentiments, and move those out of the way because of the glare. Now, I've been cutting and chopping into this kit. So you have this lovely cherry cobbler twine, a Just Jade stamping spot, so this is like a mini ink. I've not opened mine because I used my full size. You have, let's move these just to one side, a sheet of dimensionals and a mini sheet of glue dots, which is really handy. And then you've got these pieces of pre-printed die cuts. So I think there were 3 or 4 of those. Been using some of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, so plenty to keep you going. Then these lovely embossed layers. There's 2 different sizes in there. They're like knitted sweaters. You've got some lovely stitched labels here. And then you've got card bases. They're the same but in a different orientation. And they're lovely gold foiled. Hope that's showing up. As you can see, I've been chopping into them, and you get lots of envelopes as well. So this kit makes 8 cards. So, and the envelopes have this lovely lining on the inside. So I've been totally chopping away at this kit to make some projects. I had a little play yesterday. It was the first time I inked it up. To have a little play with the product to see what I could come up with outside of the ideas that Stampin' Up had given us. So this is what I created, and I promised I will do a little video to show you how to put these projects together. So I'm hoping I will find a bit of time to do that this afternoon. So I created 3 cards. So just like a little Z fold, and I've cut one of the card bases here to use. I actually stamped, using the stamp set, I used gold embossing powder and a Versamark ink to create that, and this is obviously one of the die cut pieces. Another card here where I used the stamped image rather than the pre-printed wreath that's in the kit. And this die cut circle is from the card down here. Use the little flowery image down here, which I think is just, it doesn't necessarily mean it's for Christmas. And then I created this kind of little fun fold card there and just stamped the wreath on the inside. So this is the pre-printed wreath, and then I've just stamped the wreath image over the top of it in Just Jade. And then this was just a fun little project. I did something similar to this many years ago, and I've pulled out one of the words in there, die cut words, and then inside I've just glue dotted on a candy cane. So a cute little treat pouch that you could pop anything in there. You could even glue dot in some money, could be a little money wallet. So those are the 4 projects that I created using extra supplies from the kit. So Alfie's just come running upstairs because the door's blown open and then shut again, bless him. So those are my projects. As I said, I will hope to do a little video. I've cut some kits already, so I'm going to try and do a video to at least show you how I've put a couple of those together. So that's the Joy to the World Paper Pumpkin Kit. It's only available this month, so don't miss out. If it's something you think you'd like to have a go at, you've got everything in there apart from a block. You will need a block, so it's a really fabulous kit. Absolutely loving it. So they're still available at the moment. I don't know how much longer they will be around for. So I think that's all from me for now. I'm sorry that I lost you part of the way through. A little technical glitch there, but then a Facebook Live wouldn't be a Facebook Live without a bit of a technical glitch. So thank you for those who came back and joined me. And if you're catching up on my YouTube channel and you've got any questions, please do get in touch with me. And that'll be all for now. So thanks very much, guys. Take care and speak with you again soon. Bye for now. I'm going to have to take my phone out now because I've got a window popping up to tell me that my battery is low, so away we go. Bye.